Good morning from the southwest of France. You're watching the Quiksilver Pro, stop number 9 of the World Surf League Championship Tour. Owen Wright leads this seed as the top seed in the matchup. Beat Durbridge, wears the blue jersey, and Nat Young will be the low seed as an injury replacement wild card, a former Rookie of the Year, a man who's made a few finals at the CT level in his career, still waiting for that breakthrough win. Joe Chappelle alongside former world champ Martin Potter for the call. Nat Young got started during the break.
Yeah, just a quick little wave here for Nat. And a 2.50. Bede with a quick in and out as well to get his heat started. Going to see a lot of that. We're going to see a lot of small scores, Joe. These guys just feeling it out, working out their position, working out what kind of wave they're looking for. And I don't mind it. I like seeing guys get busy and keep that, get that momentum going, find that little groove. A lot of the time, you're going to find your best wave maybe on the way back out. You never know. So you got to just keep your eyes and ears open.
Owen Wright enters this event number 5 on the Jeep leaderboard. He's number 9 when it comes to heat average on tour. 14.07 average when he competes. Beat Durbridge, now 20th in the world. He's taking a qualifying spot at the moment, but he's going to give it away with his retirement year and his message that he will be coaching Australia in the Olympics in Tokyo in 2020. What a fantastic coach that even John Florence called up in his world title rear to kick off the season. Nat Young, now 33rd in the world, will keep his points, so he knows how important this event is for his run to try to requalify, to really find rhythm against the top 34 once again. Let's now catch up with the winner of the last heat, Stu Kennedy, is with Rosie.
Thanks so much. Well, Stewie, those round 1 heat wins have been hard to come by. You looked super fired up in that one.
Yeah, I was feeling a bit tired this morning, but yeah, I'm so happy to finally win a round 1 heat. I haven't won like a 3-man heat in a CT since Trestles last year. So yeah, finally put it together for once, and I was glad Adriano's wave didn't give much at the end because I made the mistake by holding Connor off, but that wave kind of looked like it was going to hold back. But yeah, I was like, if I lose a heat, that's the reason why. But yeah.
I mean, coming from Portugal, I could tell that you're super fired up, but it hasn't been without its challenges in the lead up to this event. Do you want to tell us about that?
Oh, no one wants to hear me whinge about an ear infection and a jellyfish to the head. No, it's just the battles that we have to deal with, and it's nothing too bad, but yeah, I'm stoked to surf again.
Well, overcoming those challenges, can't wait to see what you do in round 3. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Rosie. She brings up a great point when talking to Stu Kennedy about that win. There's so many things you try to control, and sometimes you just have surprises that are out of control, especially with what can happen in the ocean and traveling long distances. Potts, you've had those moments where you show up with a brand new quiver and all your boards are broken before you even have your first surf, just from the travel. And then you have to try to find backup boards to surf on. So many stories that go along behind the scenes as we catch up the Bede's backhand here.
Yeah, nice opening turn for Bede Durbridge and a big snap there. Nice finish to the wave there. So this is going to be a great score for Bede. Nice clean bottom turn. And look at that body language that he has going. Sort of uses that upper part of his body to pivot on. And again, you can see just that upper body twists and then the lower body follows. It's an amazing technique that Bede has. Extends that back leg through the turn. Not a huge score for Bede, but a nice little opener.
Bede Durbridge made a big final out here really recently, just a couple of years ago when he was runner-up to Gabriel Medina. So you could see how he was just so switched on. He had a couple of years where he fell out of the top 10. He was just growing his family and trying to do double duty as an amazing father, and also giving him the focus he needs to compete at the top level. He kind of worked that out, found that brilliant form, and remember he had that heat with Kolohe and Dino on road to that final where he had a 9.87 for a big tail drift into a down carve, where he said he felt as fit as he's ever been in his life. That's why it was a little bit more painful to watch his wipe out at Pipeline later on in the year, because you know how hard he was working to get himself to that level.
You know what, and had he not been that fit and that strong, maybe that injury could have been a lot worse. You know, so that's a testament to being ready for it. You know, You've got to put 110% in. You've got to be physically, mentally prepared. And if you're not, well, you know, bad things can happen. And, you know, that could have been a lot worse for Bede had he not been as strong, you know. So you've got to always look at the positive, I suppose. Injuries always happen in surfing, and it's how you bounce back. And most of these guys do, though, don't they?
Really cool to see that. Bede Durbridge, a 4.0 here. Great memories at every venue around the world. And he's had wins in different places like Brazil, lower trestles, also the Pipe Masters when the conditions got smaller. That was finished at off the wall, but he was in such a great condition that year. Great results at Haleiwa and Sunset to win the prestigious Triple Crown of surfing. One of the best honors in the sport. Oftentimes that trophy is sitting right next to a world title if you can accomplish both in a career. What more else would you want in life?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't have minded one of those. Came second, but seconds don't count, mate.
What year was that?
I would have been in 1990, somewhere around there, 91. I won Sunset, did well in Haleiwa, but Pipe let me down. Or I let myself down. Pipe was always one of those ones that got away for me. Semi-final was the best I could do there.
However,
I tried to kill myself doing it, though. Like,
you've had the perfect number out there before.
Yeah, a couple of times.
And a resurf with one of your best friends, Michael Ho.
First man-on-man heat ever at Pipe. I was 17 years old. I didn't want to paddle back out either. I was like, no, don't make me go back out there.
Incredible looking at all those scenarios. Pipe Masters, the final stop of the World Surf League Championship Tour. And the place for Owen Wright suffered that injury that sidelined him for a long time. One of the scariest injuries that we've had in pro surfing. To see a comeback like he's had is a miracle. Owen Wright winning snapper. That's his best result in his career, let alone a comeback event for him just to return to form, where he finaled with Matt Wilkinson. Since then, he's had some ups and downs result-wise, but you look at his ranking, number 5 in the world, still with some of his favorite events to come. Remember when he got the wild card in Portugal years ago?
I remember
that was sort of that moment where we realized that this guy was going to be a world champ one day.
You know what? He was going to win that if he hadn't have burst his eardrum. He just charges too hard. You know, I mean, he really does not hold back. I mean, the Andy Irons Award at Chopu that year, he didn't go on to win the event, but he charged harder than anyone. And sometimes that doesn't win events. You know, you've got to be strategic. You've got to be clinical with your approach sometimes. You know, taking a beating on those kind of waves really takes it out of you, and that's what happened. You look at the two guys that went on to make that final, Gabriel Medina and Kelly Slater, didn't wipe out the entire event up until the final. So sometimes you've got to think about that.
Owen Wright had a lot of success quickly, won the Rookie of the Year award. It's a pretty cool stat for brother-sister combo. Tyler Wright also accomplished that in her first year competing on the top 17. I
think for me the best result for Owen was at Cloudbreak when he got 2 perfect heats in one event. I mean, that was 2 10-point rides, not once but twice in one event, was pretty amazing. And then to do it in the final was even, it just showed how sort of dominant he was there. You have all those perfect heats that you talk about. It's a one-pager, and then he kind of is on top of that since he had 2 perfect heats in the same contest. 9:15 on the clock. Strider Wasilewski checking out the action. How are our tides looking today?
Tides are, you know, they're big. We're in the, you know, European waters where tides are going up and down between 12 and 15 feet. So today at about 10:10, we got a high tide, which was going to bring those surfers closer to the beach. They're going to try and find those inside double-up sandbars. With that, we're going to get caught inside, I think, with some of those bigger sets rolling through. And, you know, well, they do have the jet ski assist, but right now, as you can see, there's a lot of swell in the ocean. And so them trying to find the right peak to sit on out there in your heat as the tide moves through, it's not easy.
Now, seeing that as little adjustments made, it's interesting how one part of the bank will completely disappear. Thank you, Strider, for that update. The tides are a huge factor. You always have to grab yourself a tide chart if you come to this part of the world. There could be pumping swell. If you just show up at the wrong time, it'll be flat, kind of like yesterday. Saw the high tide. It looked like a lake on the first reports. Next thing you know, when it started dropping out, everyone was scrambling to get down there for the warm-up session, Potts. And what's the rule of thumb here is if you're looking at it and it's good, you're too late. You're too late. Thanks for that one, Potts. Remember when you told me that? kept missing sessions, you're too late if it looks good.
Yeah,
that's how fast the water moves out here.
Yeah, you've got to anticipate what part of the bank is going to be good in about half an hour. So by the time you go back to the car, you get changed, you go back down, it's not the same place.
Just kind of leading us to that topic of how surfing really separates itself from the action sports that we're related to in skating and snowboarding. Your ramp's always there. All your features are going to be there to perform on. It all stays consistent where the lineup can change, and you have to be able to react in a short space to know where to be at the right time. So there's this ocean awareness and mastering a lineup, which is a massive key to success.
Look what's happened to Owen Wright at the moment. No waves ridden by him, so obviously a very tricky lineup.
At the moment, sitting number 5 in the world. A comeback year for Owen Wright. The goal was just to get back on his surfboard, to do what he loves. Then the next goal was to see if he could compete at a high level. Then he put himself right back where he left off in the world title showdown. 16:55 to go. Just a couple of scores, a 4 and a 2.5. The 2 5s for Nat Young. One of the best surfers to come out of Santa Cruz. Wearing the white jersey. And Nat's ready to start swinging. Bit of drive down the line under the lip hook, but he can't hang on.
Wow. Well, that was commitment. You got to give him that. Just didn't quite get that board back under his feet. You know, he's kind of leaning a little bit too sort of over the rail. Let's have a look here. Nice slow-mo footage. I love the slow-mo because you see exactly what's about to happen. Jams it in the pocket, and then that front foot comes off a little bit, and then as it re-engages with the board, kind of stuffs that rail into the water, goes down in a critical section. An opportunity missed right there for Nat Young.
Nat Young's had a final in Europe. It was in Portugal, the next stop of the tour, where Kai Otten ended up winning that final. He's also finaled in Fiji. We see him final at Bells. Nat was almost the goofy foot to break the streak of the lack of goofy foot wins since Aki in the late 90s. Wilco accomplished that more recently last year. That's how deadly Nat was, winning the Rookie of the Year award over Felipe Toledo, over Sebastian Zietz and Glenn Microhall, finishing that first year in the top 10.
Which amazes me that you know, got knocked off the tour last year. With that kind of consistency, with that kind of you know, just knowledge of competing at a high level, then to not get the consistency last year and falling off the tour.
Now looking at the 15-minute mark, Owen Wright still scoreless as we wait for this thing really to get started. And remember, coming up next, Matt Wilkinson takes on Wiggly Dantas and Josh Kerr. We'll be right back. Welcome back as we look back to the start of the season at the Quiksilver Pro on the Gold Coast of Australia. All eyes on Owen Wright to his return to the jersey as a big member of the top 34. He was formerly a world title contender, but we wanted to see if he had recovered well enough to compete. He proved that he could get his best result he's ever had in his career, making a final against good friend Matt Wilkinson along the way, and really taking out all of his Rip Curl teammates, including world champ Mick Fanning along the way.
And Gabriel Medina. So, I mean, he was on fire. And you could tell, just heat by heat, he was gaining in confidence. He was kind of remembering that feeling of being at the top. Look at that. I mean, that was a Matty Wilco special right there, and O-Dog just owned it. I mean, got better and better, didn't he? Through that entire event, and it was like there was not a dry eye in the house, let me tell you.
Back to this one, Bede Durbridge. Starting to get that form going on the right. Nice clean snap. Little misread on the second section, so he's looking to make up for it. Little blast on the inside corner and another awkward little inside section. It kept going off speed, but just tried to belt it a couple of times. Still low scoring in the matchup, so Nat Young's trying to come back. Stretched out top turn, nice little wrap off the roof there. Nat Young squares up vertically. Can he finish? And he stomps it further down the line. Great read for the goofy foot from Santa Cruz, says the injury replacement wild card. And now it's Owen's turn. First wave here at the 12-minute mark. It'll be a two-turn combo on his back end to finally get things going.
Yeah, 12 minutes remaining, so he's waited quite some time. Better part of more than half the heat for Owen. Nat Young caught his best ride and beat up again.
Bede Durbridge winding up. Drawn out top turn wrap. Has the lip to hit. Two solid turns flowing down the line. Extended flow on a tough section, and Bede pulls it off. So Bede's high score before that, a 4.0. Remember, Nat had the 2.5 before that. Owen getting started. All three competitors getting keepers on that last exchange.
Yeah, it sort of comes with that rhythm, doesn't it? Finding the spot. Bede Durbridge, nice looking wave here. Kind of thought he was looking for the barrel, but then out on the open face, squaring up. Nice little combination right there, and then this floater, a little bit off balance, but then pulled it off. So Bede starting to sort of build some momentum. Nice drawn out bottom turn, and then there's that trademark Bede Durbridge hook in the pocket. Beautiful style of Bede Durbridge. Resetting that rail. Owen, his opening wave. Two-turn combo just straight into that backhand snap. So Owen waiting quite some time, and then Nat's best wave as well. It's going to be probably the highest score at the moment due to that turn right there, and then straight into that finishing maneuver. That's better for Nat Young. Just rapid fire on the back end. Real solid. And there's the score.
Numbers in for Nat Young, a 6.17. Owen Wright starts with a 4.57. More waves on the way, hitting the 10-minute mark. Nat Young is able to get in position under Owen's priority. There's the first snap, nice and solid. Big vertical tail drift, and the bottom drops out.
Wow, that was dangerous. Let's hope he's okay. Hope his board's all right. That was a critical end maneuver right there, and now he's going to pay for it. Pretty solid wave here. Got quite a bit of power as well. I mean, this wave is, when it's big, it's not for the faint-hearted, Joe.
Unbelievable seeing Nat just wind up and go for it. It reminded me of a Pipe Masters performance he had where he just went on everything. Took a lot of beatings, but really just showed that how much he wanted it. He's not afraid of a wipeout, that's for sure. And he knows how important it is to get some momentum in the first round here. Owen's got some room now. Always smooth, easy tempo to watch. That's not going to be the wave to give him the lead. Meanwhile, Bede's last, 5.17, takes the lead right back from Nat with 9 minutes to go.
Bit of a seesaw battle, but Nat doesn't need much. He's only looking for 3 points. Get himself back into that #1 spot. 8 minutes and 45 seconds remaining. Bede with a 5.17 and a 4. Nat with a 6.17, the high scorer. And Owen just with a 4.57, so you can see very hard to get some big points out there this morning.
Last heat, we're talking about high 6 range numbers as the top scorers in the heat. De Souza was in that matchup, but it was Stu Kennedy, the low seed, getting the win to go straight into round 3. Having a look now, Owen Wright setting up the back end. Nice, powerful vertical whip, deep bottom turn, and trying to smash it shut. but ends up getting lost on the end section.
Wow, those Finns just didn't want to engage, did they?
Nat Young to answer. Just needs a 3.0 for the lead here. Times the vertical finish and will step off with 7:50 to go.
Yeah, I think he did enough on that. Two-turn combo. Kind of very similar to Owen's opening wave, 4.57. It's going to be a 4-pointer, somewhere around there. But just enough to take the lead. He's only looking for 3. Flat 3.
So a very tight heat still underway here in round 1, heat number 2. Pete Durbridge still holding down the fort here, 5.17 and a 4.0. And it can be a bit emotional when you see a surfer saying goodbye to the top 34, because you get so used to them being a part of the furniture in the championship tour. Strider Wamslewski, I know he's one of your favorites to watch.
Most definitely, watching him out here, you just have that feeling that he's going to, you know, ruffle some feathers on the way out, and why not? Why not, you know, make everybody feel his presence as this thing comes down to the end, and these last couple of events for him to shine, and great waves too. I mean, he loves the south of France, and he's all pumped up, a couple of boards under his arm, and watching him get ready for his heat. So definitely, you know, he's going to be a deadly competitor. He's always finding the waves.
That's right. Well, Strider, we're noticing how tough it is to get a solid score. Nat just got the 6.17. We haven't seen anything above the 6 range. Is it due to the conditions right now?
Well, I think that they're just waiting for somebody to open up that door. You know, everybody kind of throwing it up into the lip. There's been some technical surfing where we've seen some fins twisting, but the way the dump's happening on the shore break, there's so much power in the lip as it slams down in here. You can feel it just about on the beach. So, you know, if somebody really goes through the top, gets above it, and throws down one of those, you know, oncoming sections with a lot of speed and attacks it with everything that they've got, we're going to see those scores go excellent.
Strider, with the swell we have on hand, with the tide changing, are you expecting big barrels today?
You know, I have been seeing these little lefts starting to work across the inside corner here. I've noticed that Owen was looking at them earlier, but they weren't consistent enough. And I just saw another one go through just now. So I feel like we're going to start to see all these sandbars start to work a little bit better as the tide gets to this higher point, and we'll maybe even see a couple of really nice tube rides go down, because I did see a perfect left barrel spit just about, I don't know, about 60 seconds ago. So there's eyes on them for sure.
Great news, Strider. Good man, watching the lineup from downstairs as we see the 5-minute warning hit. Owen Wright spins under Bede's priority. Needs a 6.43 as he's up and out. Nat Young did get the lead change on that last effort, a 6.17 when he was left chasing a 3.0. And so a scrappy heat, multiple lead changes. Owen Wright started selective, didn't get his first wave to the 12-minute mark. And now he's trying to avoid that round 2 to try to avoid a 25th. It's all about wins at this point of the year if you're really trying to fight for that world title. And as we can see, Potts, so much energy here on the opening day.
Yeah, big sets rolling through, and I think that higher tide is going to really help it out. Bede with priority.
So he can take Nat off this wave, and he's going to use that here. Durbridge. He's got a hollow section. It's running, but he's just up and out.
Wow. Well, a bit of a mistake there from Bede. He had priority. Nat had the lead, so Nat was looking to better a 4.83. Bede is looking for a 5.84, so that would be his best score.
You can see with that opportunity, Bede just wanted to take Nat anything from him where he could improve on his total out front. This was the decision here, Potts.
Yeah, interesting decision here from Bede. Real smart competitor. You can see Nat stalling. Yep, okay, he's going to go. I'm going to kick out. You don't want to be involved in that interference call right there, and Bede, he kind of got sold on that, didn't he? So great work there from Nat Young. Now Owen Wright with priority, sorry.
That's right, Potts. That was what Nat was famous for as a rookie on tour. Being the new kid on the block, he had so much confidence, and he could read a lineup brilliantly, and make an event, make a decision with priority is a pretty hard thing to do, especially a guy like Bede Durbridge. Owen holds priority now. with 3 minutes to go and still left chasing a 6.43. So when you think about that scenario, Potts, it's still wide open.
Yeah, wide open. Absolutely wide open. I mean, Owen can drop massive scores without a doubt. He goes Nat, second priority.
Nat Young setting up that first hook. Little off balance on that first section. Tail drift on the second one. And he'll get out of there. So Bede will just jump right in front of him again. Since Owen hasn't made a decision yet, he still holds priority with 2:40 to go. Matt Wilkinson coming up next, who finaled with Owen at the start of the season. Ended up winning at Cloudbreak at the Fiji Pro. Also he has Wiggly Dantas and Josh Kerr to deal with. In a year that's been pretty tough to predict, we've had so many different winners. De Souza from the last heat won Rio. Owen won Snapper. Wilco won Fiji. Julian won in Tahiti. John Florence dominated Margaret River. Jordy Smith with a win at Bells. And Toledo, a couple of wins this season from the performance he threw down at Jeffreys Bay. He put himself right into a title race, backed it up at lowers. Here comes Owen Wright with a lot of speed and nowhere to put his surfboard off the roof. And he's down to 1:45, Potts.
Yeah, well, tricky conditions out there at the moment. Owen just hasn't really found his groove. Kind of stuck in first or second gear right now. And there is Josh Kerr looking bright this morning.
That's right. Some show up with that bright wetsuit. He wants to make sure everyone sees all of his waves. He's coming up next. It's going to be a fun one to watch. Meanwhile, we're approaching the final minute. And Durbridge and Owen don't need much. If they don't find it here, they'll have another shot in round 2. But the goal is to skip these rounds to avoid any possibility of getting knocked out early, especially when it's your retirement season on tour and you finaled here in the past. "55 seconds on the clock here just in the second heat of the morning." He just hoping that he gets one more opportunity. So interesting, Potts. You see the waves pumping. The free surf is going off. And as soon as the competition starts, you can start seeing the games that are played out in the lineup and how hard it is to really get a score and demand out here.
Yeah, it's not all about catching every wave. Here we go.
Owen Wright pulls in on this left. It's moving quickly down the line. And he's not going to be able to get the exit there. So Owen Wright's going to have to deal with round 2 as this one continues. Is up to Bede with 14 seconds as he's up and out as well. So both giving themselves a chance to try to fight for the lead, but not finding the waves, and we'll count this one out. Nat Young keeps the streak alive for the underdogs. The low seeds winning the first 2 heats of the morning from Stu Kennedy, now to Nat Young.
Tricky. I think that's the word for it, but Nat Young obviously fighting to get himself back on tour, as is Stu Kennedy trying to keep his spot for next year.
Coming up next, Matt Wilkinson takes on Wiggly Dantas and Josh Kerr. We'll bring in Ronnie Blakey and Peter Mel for the call.